When Ahab saw Elijah, he said to him, "Is it really you, the one who brings disaster on Israel?" "I have not brought disaster on Israel, but you and your father's dynasty have, by abandoning the Lord's commandments and following the Baals. Now send out messengers and assemble all Israel before me at Mount Carmel, as well as the 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah, whom Jezebel supports." Ahab sent messengers to all the Israelites and had the prophets assemble at Mount Carmel. Elijah approached all the people. "How long are you going to be paralyzed by indecision? If the Lord is the true God, then follow him. But if Baal is, follow him." But the people did not say a word. "I am the only prophet of the Lord who is left. But there are 450 prophets of Baal. Let them bring us 2 bowls. Let them choose one of the bowls for themselves, cut it up into pieces, and place it on the wood. But they must not set it on fire. I will do the same to the other bowl. I will place it on the wood, but I will not set it on fire. Then you will invoke the name of your God, and I will invoke the name of the Lord. The God who responds with fire will demonstrate that he is the true God." All the people responded, "This will be a fair test." Elijah told the prophets of Baal, "Choose one of the bowls for yourselves and go first, for you are the majority. Invoke the name of your God, but do not light a fire." So they took a bowl, as he had suggested, and prepared it. They invoked the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, "Baal, answer us! Baal, answer us! Baal, answer us!" But there was no sound and no answer. They jumped around on the altar they had made. At noon, Elijah mocked them. "Yell louder! After all, he is a god. He may be deep in thought. Or perhaps he stepped out for a moment, or has taken a trip. Yeah, perhaps he is sleeping and needs to be awakened." So they yelled louder, "Ah!" and in accordance with the prescribed ritual, mutilated themselves with swords and spears until their bodies were covered with blood. Throughout the afternoon, they were in an ecstatic frenzy. But there was no sound, no answer, and no response. Then Elijah approached all the people. "Approach me." So all the people approached him. He repaired the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. Then Elijah took 12 stones, corresponding to the number of tribes descended from Jacob, to whom the Lord's message had come. "Israel will be your name." With the stones he constructed an altar for the Lord. Around the altar he made a trench large enough to contain 2 seahs of seed. He arranged the wood, cut up the bowl, and placed it on the wood. "Fill 4 water jars and pour the water on the offering in the wood," He said, "Do it again." So they did it again. He said, "Do it a third time." So they did it a third time. The water flowed down all sides of the altar and filled the trench. When it was time for the evening offering, Elijah the prophet approached the altar and prayed, "O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, prove today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, O Lord. Answer me so these people will know that you, O Lord, are the true God, and that you are winning back their allegiance." Then fire from the Lord fell from the sky. It consumed the offering, the wood, the stones, and the dirt, and even licked up the water in the trenches. When all the people saw this, they threw themselves down with their faces to the ground and said, "The Lord is the true God. The Lord is the true God." Elijah told them, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let even one of them escape." So they seized them. And Elijah led them down to the Kishon Valley and executed them there. Then Elijah said to Ahab, "Go on up and eat and drink, for the sound of a heavy rainstorm can be heard." So Ahab went on up to eat and drink, while Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel. He bent down toward the ground and put his face between his knees. He told his servant, "Go on up and look in the direction of the sea." So he went on up, looked, and said, "There is nothing." 7 times Elijah sent him to look. Now the 7th time, the servant said, "Look, a small cloud the size of the palm of a man's hand is rising up from the sea." "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up the chariots and go down so that the rain won't overtake you." Meanwhile, the sky was covered with dark clouds. The wind blew, and there was a heavy rainstorm. Ahab rode toward Jezreel. Now the Lord energized Elijah with power. He tucked his robe into his belt and ran ahead of Ahab all the way to Jezreel. This is the word of the Lord.